guys, and welcome to Brunswick County Schools' first ever ENCORE education. This is our first in a series that we hope to continue monthly of quick 15-minute sessions where we talk about important things for parents. I will tell you we are experiencing some technical difficulties with the live stream, so if it cuts out, just realize we'll try as quickly as we can to get it back up, but a clean version of this video will be posted tomorrow morning on both our Facebook and our page and our website. And you can always post comments or questions that you may have to the Facebook post or to the live stream itself. So again, welcome, and I'm Acacia Dixon, Director of Instructional Technology for Brunswick County Schools, and I have with me today First Sergeant TK Now from the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office. And since today is Safer Internet Day, we wanted to talk to parents today about internet safety and their kids and applications and things that we see going on with students in social media and those types of things. Welcome, First Sergeant.
Thank you for inviting me here to discuss this.
So we have some questions that were submitted previously by some parents ahead of time that we've talked about. And the first one of those is, what social media sites and apps are you seeing as causing the most concerns these days?
So within our schools, we have Detective Zach Stanley, who is part of our team who investigates crimes and stuff. So reached out to him to see what he is facing in the schools, and by far he said that Snapchat has been one of the most common apps that has been used with our children, misused by our children by sending inappropriate things. Another one would be TikTok. TikTok is a new app that is promoting kids to do dangerous things and actually bringing those into the schools as well, which is causing safety concerns for our students, the staff, and our facilities. So we definitely need to be monitoring what they are viewing on both of those apps. And then also within Snapchat, if you haven't seen the My Eyes Only part of it, it's like a private photos for other people to be viewing. So be careful with that. Monitor what your child is sharing on Snapchat.
I know that I frequently get asked about Roblox because our younger kids are looking at Roblox as a possible coding game development. It allows students or anyone to build their own world sort of in a coding environment. But as with anything else, when people can build their own things, sometimes we see evidence of people misusing that environment. So Roblox has mixed reviews online, which brings me to, I want to point out to parents that there's a website called Common Sense Media where you can actually search these apps and search new games, programs, even movies, TVs, and books to see reviews by other parents and even by students and kids. So you can get a wide variety of information. Under their apps and games, they actually have a what is arena that looks at what is Snapchat and what is TikTok and what are some of these newer apps that parents may not know, and there's short videos there to introduce those. They also have a comprehensive article, The Parent's Ultimate Guide to Roblox, so that if parents want to understand more about this application or game before their kids play, they can go on and use these resources. Before I forget, our PIO, Daniel Seaman, has done a great job of adding these resources to our website. So if you go to the BCS website, and go to parents or community or students, you can actually scroll down, and ENCORE Education has its own link, and you can see each episode. There's a link here on the left to the first episode, which is our social media one today. He will embed the video here tomorrow, but also there's all the links to the resources we're going to talk about. So there's the link to the Common Sense Media for parents, and there's a link to Roblox, that specific article especially. So that's pretty much what we've seen on the most common apps, don't you think?
Yes, and just be mindful of if you are allowing your children to do any type of social media networking and allows chatting, free chatting and stuff with older adults. Be mindful of that. They become vulnerable in those situations, so just be mindful of it and keep your children safe from those predators that obviously will take advantage of those types of apps.
One of the other questions we received was about how do I disable, is there a way to disable the camera on the device? If I give my child a cell phone, for example, is there a way to disable that camera so we can stop them from taking pictures of themselves?
So yes, I've researched this, and it's kind of a difficult thing to do, especially because it is built into those phones. So It is going to be device specific, which between Android, iPhone, Samsung, whatever it is. If you can reach out to the provider, see if they know a certain way, or if your parents have already figured that out and would like to share that information with us, we would greatly appreciate it, because we need to share those tools amongst each others, and just to keep our children safe.
Right. I will tell you that, and we talked about this recently, both Android and iPhone have come out with some resources that track the amount of time that adults or children are spending on certain things. I know I talked to some adults today and had them look at their iPhone, where it's the Use the Screen Time app, to determine how long they're spending on social media. And you can do the same thing on your kids' phones.
And parents also just be mindful of setting those boundaries of, like one of the rules in my house is we're not going to be watching YouTube or any type of social media in our bedrooms, especially if you're going to be on those types of sites. We're going to be out in a public area, so I can hear what she's watching and being mindful of what she's seeing and viewing.
I think that's probably the most important piece is parental involvement.
Oh, yes.
And you want to give your children some freedom, but also equipping them with the right decision making processes.
Correct.
And working with them to gradually earn those responsibilities and those rights.
And parents really need to talk about, if the children come across a site like that, and if they see something that's inappropriate, have that open communication with them and say, Mom, I just seen this on the phone. It come up, and you need to block those sites. But you can block specific sites on your phone so it doesn't come up again.
That's great. One of the other things that we get from parents is there a way for parents to get notifications concerning sites my child is on? Again, this is one of those things that can get pretty specific, but I will tell you there is a resource out there. This is a paid resource for parents, so it does come with a monthly sort of fee. I think it's less than $10 a month, though, but it's called Bark, and we, again, have it linked. But what Bark does is actually monitors. It does social media monitoring, text monitoring, email monitoring, and then it alerts parents if certain indicators pop up. So it monitors, it detects, and it does an alert. It is a monthly fee, but it is a way for you to track, what your children are doing on social media. Right. Within the school system, we run a filtering system, so our networks, don't allow access to social media by the students and those kind of things. But again, nothing is foolproof, so equipping your children with how they respond to those things when they do run across something is incredibly important. Yes,
and it's important as parents to actually stay on top of these things, because they're always being educated on ways around things. So, that just takes diligence on our part to stay ahead of it as well.
That's true. When we talk about things like using the iPhone screen time or the Android digital wellness, as soon as we figure out how to turn them on, and as easy it is for us to Google and determine that, it's also easy for teenagers or students to Google and figure out how to get around it. Oh, yeah. So that's why it's incredibly important. Even if you put certain measures in to protect your students, that you follow up, or to protect your kids, that you follow up with that and have those conversations, because there's always a way to get around it. So. Let's see what other questions we've had submitted. How do I talk to my child about using these sites appropriately?
Obviously, we have to set those boundaries with our children, knowing the sites that they're allowed to go to. Utilizing the Clever portal within the schools. That's one of the big things in our house is that, the schools have given us these resources. And so if we can access those, and those have a lot of the safe sites, education, bring it on up. Education, math, the library, which I learned about, was phenomenal. So reading the books and stuff online, those are some safe places where they can go to explore and benefit from their time that they're spending online.
We do have a link to the Clever portal linked off of our homepage. And for those of you that may not know, all of our educational resources are within this portal. You can log in. Students can log in with their Google ID that all students in Brunswick County have. And they log in and they get access to the resources that we pay for that are educational resources. As you indicated, we talked about the digital library some this week, and that digital library is available to all of our students, and it's leveled according to their grade level. So they're not going to get high school age books or those kind of things.
Right.
So that is important that we give give our kids access to resources that are appropriate. One of the questions we also often get are what are sites they should be able to go to? Where can we let them go? And I would say that you have to look at the terms of service and the safety features that are put in place by websites. The Children's Internet Protection Act and the Children's Online Protection Act are both in place, but websites have to monitor their own and those kind of things. So really looking at what parameters they put in, what seals they have, searching places like Common Sense Media to determine how safe they are, and then also if you run into if your child runs into something inappropriate, having them come to you and talk to you about it, and then reporting that to the site's owners is incredibly important. As we've talked about, some sites do a better job than others of sort of maintaining that integrity for kids only. So, anything to add to that, First Sergeant? Now, let's see.
No, I think you hit a lot of the bases, like setting those parameters, setting a good relationship with kids' online safety. You've got to talk to these kids about proper etiquettes online as well, because we don't want any of these bad incidences spilling over, obviously, into the schools. It can become frustrating, especially, and one of the other things is obviously the dissemination of photos amongst children, which is obviously causing problems in the schools. So just be careful.
Yeah, I think it's important that kids understand that certain photos can get them in real trouble. That stays with them until they're adults, and I think that sometimes we make bad decisions without thinking about the long-term effects of that. And understanding that anything we post on social media, even one of the questions we got recently was about, can I take down things and delete things that my child may post? You can, but once it goes up, it's there. Someone probably already has a screenshot of it or something like that. So it's really important that kids understand before they hit that enter button and post it what the consequences may be.
And I think that's where a lot of kids think about Snapchat. Oh, once I send this picture, it's gone in just a few seconds. But actually, it doesn't go from person to person. It travels through the internet. It is gone, and so it is able to be retrieved after that. And plus, they're able to. The receiver is able to save those or screenshot them. So, there is documentation of those things, and it gets a lot of kids in trouble in positions that they don't want to be into.
So we really wanted to make this a short conversation, and we're actually running right up on our 15-minute time limit. So we didn't have any questions submitted online, but if you want to go either onto our Facebook page or actually at this point on our Facebook page, any questions that are submitted over the next time period, we will try to find answers to and share them with parents. We'll continue to put resources on this particular webpage, which highlights episode 1, and this segment will be archived and posted tomorrow with some additional information and links. And so we're really excited about that. I think our next ENCORE education is scheduled for this same time next month, tentatively scheduled for March 10th. And I believe the topic is attendance and how important attendance is for our students in their learning environment.
Yes, so. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
I mean,